Do you want to sit further back so you're not right up front?
Shabbat Shalom. It's an interesting Shabbat because it mixes many things together. The joy of celebrating a Bar Mitzvah, the remembrance and honoring of our veterans, as this is the weekend before we commemorate Veterans Day here in the United States. And then this is also the night of Kristallnacht. Life is a circle of feelings and emotions, and Shabbat is a time to sit and to take them in and to bring the spirit that we have inside of us to encounter each of those feelings. One who wants to enter the holiness of the day must first lay down the profanity of clattering commerce, of being yoked to toil. One must go away from the screech of dissonant days, from the nervousness and fury of acquisitiveness, and the betrayal in embezzling his own life. One must say farewell to manual work and learn to understand that the world has already been created and will survive without the help of humanity. Abraham Joshua Heschel. Now invite up Rabbi Till to kindle the Shabbat candles. Let's hope she gets it right. Let me shake it. We turn to page 120.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in need and all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu b'chadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen.
Good job.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with the mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the lights of Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We now turn to page 123, and we rise as Jordan is invited to the bimah to lead us in the Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava u'ratzon ichilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom tehillah, l'mikra'ei kodesh. Zecher l'tzion mitzrayim,
Ki banu v'charta, yatanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'yahava u'ratzon, itchaltanu. You may be seated as we turn to page 127, and we will read responsibly. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. Continue on the next page with the singing of Hinei Ma Tov, how good it is to be here together.
Thank you.
This is adapted from writings of Milton Steinberg. A musician must practice by a prearranged schedule, regardless of the inclination at the moment. So with the devout soul, it may not rely on caprice or put its hope in chance. It must work. Those who fold their hands, waiting for the Spirit to move them to think of God, who postpone worship for the right mood and the perfect setting, a forest or a mountain peak, for example, will do little of meditating or praying. After all, how often does one find oneself in a cathedral of nature? And when you are there, who shall say that they will be in a worshipful temper? We turn now to Lecha Dodi, page 138. We do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. When we get to verse 9, we rise, we face the rear, and we greet the Sabbath bride.
Lecha Dodi, Likrakala, B'nei Shabbat, Lekavela, Lecha Dodi, Likrakala, B'nei Shabbat, Lekavela, Shamor v'Zachor midibur echad, Hishmiyanu echad v'yechad, Adonai echad, Shemo echad, L'shem l'tifer v'l'hila, Lecha Dodi, Likrakala, B'nei Shabbat, Lekavela, Lecha Dodi, Likrakala, B'nei Shabbat, Lekavela, Likra Shabbat lechu v'lecha, Ki mekor ha'bracha, Mirosh mikerem mezucha, Soma se b'machshavat hila, Lecha Dodi, Likrakala, B'nei Shabbat, Lekavela, Lecha Dodi, Likrakala, B'nei Shabbat, Lekavela, Hitoreri, Hitoreri, Ki va'or kami ori, uri, shir lameri, Yevon Adonai chalayich nikla, Lecha Dodi, Likrakala, B'nei Shabbat, Lekavela, Lecha Dodi, Likrakala, B'nei Shabbat, Lekavela. Oy v'shalom noteret b'hala, Ga b'simcha u'b'tzara, Tov v'nei amsera, V'yichala, V'yichala, Lecha Dodi, Likrakala, B'nei Shabbat, Lekavela, Lecha Dodi, Likrakala, B'nei Shabbat, Lekavela.
Page 145. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time. Even at unlikely times and through unlikely places, there is no place on earth without the presence.
Yikra v'yikra Shemei Rabbah. Ve'al ma'divrach hirute, ve'al lich malchute, v'chayeh honu, v'yom echon, u'chayeh kol beit Yisrael. Bagala, u'bizman kari, ve'yimeru, amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbah mevorach, le'alam u'lam me'amaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar, v'yitramah, v'yitnaseh, V'yatadar, v'yatalel, v'yatalal, shemei Jakutsha. Le'ela min kol birchata, v'shirata, tushbechata, v'nechemata, damiram be'alma, ve'imeru, amen.
Please rise as we turn to the Baruch Hu, our call to worship. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'dvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chochma poteach sha'arim, u'v'tvuna mishaneh itim u'machalif et hazmanim, u'misader et ha'kochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, u'ma'avir yom u'mevi layla, Mavdil ben Yom u'ben Laila, Adonai Tzvaot Shemo. El Chai v'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Ha'ma'ariv Aravim. 151 together. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with the truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean this struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle. Be wise to listen to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai. responsively in the middle of 157. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice with Israel, sing on the shores of the sea.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haborei sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. As we turn to page 164, may those who are able please rise for the tefillah.
Adonai sefata tiftach ufia tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Aviteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei
Hatzara.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני,
מחיי הכל אתה רם להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. נאמנת לך חיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, קדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. You may be seated as we turn to page 173. Together, may these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land and Zion restored in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadecha b'yirah na'avod. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, v'tov shemcha l'cha na'er la'odot.
Israel, Amcha, Yatzim Le'oleh.
Please take a few moments of silent prayer and reflection. Turn now to page 371 for our prayer for healing. I'll read the formula, say some names, and then if you have names to share, you can pray for them by saying their names out loud as I look in your direction or praying for them in your heart. Mishberach Avotenu v'Imotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu Yavarech et HaCholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal all who are ill. Our thoughts turn now to those in need of healing. We think of Barbara DiCario, Thomas DiMatteo, Mark Friedman, Elizabeth Friedman, Ira Coleman, Dorothy Jacobson, Shana Esther Baruchel, Howard Itkin, Chris Sura, Joel Shamaskin, Chaya Necha Bat Riva Leah, Simon Brightman, Barbara Bayer, Beata Falkovich, Lawrence Post, Katriel Parachia Ben Herschel Lazer Vishoshana, Richard Reese, Marlene Gordon, David Beer, Michael Westreich, Scott Rosenfeld, Lillian Cortu, Sally Graff, Sam Webby, Joe Behrman, Sarah Bat Abraham Basara, Tali Beckwith Cohn. Are there any other names to share?
Susan Kingston.
May the Holy and Blessed One be filled with compassion, for their health to be restored, their strength to be revived. May God grant them complete renewal of body and spirit. May God give strength to them, their loved ones, and their caretakers. And let us say,
Amen.
Bless those in need of healing.
With refuah shlema, renewal of body, renewal of spirit, and let us say,
Let's imagine you suddenly receive a directive to leave behind your home, most of your family, outside of your spouse and a nephew perhaps, and go to a location that is far off and won't allow you much contact with the past. There are no cell phones, and other phones for that matter, meaning no text messaging. There are no computers, no internet, and no email. Your only contact is snail mail, but even that will have delays for months or years to contact your folks or siblings. Add to that, no video streaming, TV, radio, or newspapers. So you will not be able to learn of what is happening back here in Rochester or wherever you come from. The extent to which I described the separation from family and home is almost impossible in today's world. Having traveled myself some 15 years ago to Uganda, a third world nation in East Africa, to a small town hours from the capital city, and then out into the countryside, we were still only a few minutes away from cell phones, or even an internet cafe that sometimes actually worked. Yes, there are those rare spots on this globe, a bit more isolated even than Nabagoya Hill, outside of Mbale in Uganda. But the occurrence I asked you to imagine was what our ancestors, Abraham and Sarah, experienced. On God's command to Abram at the start of this week's portion, Lech Lecha, go forth or go to yourself, they journeyed far from everything they knew to establish a new and unique way of relating to God that developed into what we call Judaism. I doubt Abraham's way of living a Jewish life was like ours, but he and Sarah set out and set the foundation for what was to follow leading up to today's practices. Have you ever wondered, did Abraham wear a kippah? Well, the answer from some groups is, what Orthodox Jew wouldn't wear a kippah? One might ask, though, why they needed to leave Haran, which was already a journey from Ur of the Chaldees, his birthplace, taken there by his father, Terach. The original environment had changed. They were beginning a new life and they were going to a new land. Wasn't that enough to allow Abraham to establish his monotheistic faith? Perhaps not. God commands Abraham to leave everything familiar to him and Sarah in order to more clearly establish his religious separation from the idolatry of Ur or Haran, and even from his father's home. It seems that he could not have become the founder of this new faith group and people if he resided too near to his old ways. What were the old ways of his father? Well, there is no indication in the Torah text itself. One of the most famous midrashic stories, which many mistakenly think is contained in the Torah, describes the idolatry connection. Abraham's family, it says, used to make images and sell them in the market. One day it was Abraham's turn to sell. Abraham promptly set food and drinks before the images and said to them, "Come and eat, come and drink, so that you may be able to bestow good upon human beings." But not one of them took anything at all to eat or drink. Then, according to the Midrash, Abraham began to recite the verse from Psalm 115, written almost 1,000 years later, but Pelahem velo yidaberu, enayim lahem velo yeru, voznayim lahem velo yishma'u, af lahem velo yirechu, yadayim lachem velo yamishun, raglechem velo yichalechu. They have mouths, but they speak not, eyes, but they see not. They have ears, but they hear not. They have noses, but not smell. They have hands, but they handle not. Feet have they, but they walk not. Now a woman came in carrying a bowl of fine flour and said, "Here, offer it to the gods." At that, Abraham seized the stick, smashed all the images, and placed the stick in the hands of the biggest idol of them all. When his father came, he asked, "Who did this to the gods?" Abraham answered, "Would I hide anything from you, father? A woman came with a bowl of fine flour and said, 'Here, offer them up.' When I offered it, one god said, 'I will eat first.' And another said, 'No, I will eat first.' And then the biggest of them rose up and smashed all the others." His father replied, "Are you kidding me?" Or something to that effect. "They cannot do anything." And Abraham answered, "You say they cannot do anything? Let your ears hear what your mouth is saying." We see that already in his father's domain, according to this midrash, he rejected the power attributed to these handmade idols. He even tried to convince his father, but this family business of selling idols would never allow Abraham to get far enough away from these false beliefs that were held by his kinfolk to be free to promote his understanding of a non-corporeal God. He needed to be on his own before he could establish himself being faithful to God. And this very idea is expressed in another midrash that the rabbis taught. When the Holy One said to Abraham, "Get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred," what did Abraham resemble? A vial of scent with a tight-fitting lid put away in the corner so that his fragrance could not go forth. As soon as it was moved from the place and opened, its fragrance began to go forth. So the Holy One said to Abraham, "Abraham, many good deeds are in you. Travel about from the place to place, and the greatness of your name will go forth in my world. Get thee out, and I will have thee acclaimed a great nation." Now, a large part of establishing who we are as adults relies on balance. On one hand, we need to create some independence from our primary family. You listening, Jordan? This is important. I say that knowing that as a parent, we never want our children to go too far away. Yet on the other hand, who we are is integrally part of a family in which we grew up. We are made up of a confluence of these two realities, our need for separation and individuation, along with strength, support, and love that our family gives us in shaping our identities. As you know, according to Judaism, the ceremony of becoming a bar or bat mitzvah is a demarcation of moving from childhood towards becoming an adult. Not being an adult, but becoming an adult. It is also the time when parents and even grandparents come to new realities about their own lives. While their journeys to the future are not the same as the young person's, they too are moving along in the stages of life. Our great ancestors, Abraham and Sarah, went on a journey that established a great people who have given so much to this world. We, their spiritual descendants, are part of a long chain of that tradition. May we too continue to go on positive journeys that lead to a promising future. Amen. It's now time, as we do on Shabbat evening, usually at a meal, but we do it here at the synagogue. We invite all the young children, anyone who is not yet bar or bat mitzvah until tomorrow morning, and anybody else who's younger, can come up here on the bima and receive a blessing. You guys hiding, or you're going to come? Okay. Well, do it symbolically. And parents, grandparents, put your hands on their heads and say to them, may God bless you and watch over you. May the light of God shine upon you. May God be gracious to you. In the presence of God, we lift it up to you. May you be blessed. We'll now turn to our concluding prayers as we turn to page 586. We rise. We begin with the second paragraph on that page, the Aleinu. Tonight we commemorate and remember a night of darkness and fear that swept the heartland of Europe like a scourge. We remember those who persecuted Jews for being Jews. We remember those who spoke out, brave souls who tried to save the world. And we remember the silence, how many stood aside, mute and unconcerned, forgetting the divine command, you shall not stand idle while your neighbor bleeds. Let there be no forgetfulness before the throne of glory, and let memory startle us at any moment when we lie down and when we rise up. Let us remember and never forget. God in heaven, we remember. We remember the night of broken glass. We remember the burning of synagogues. We remember the looting of schools. We remember the destruction of orphanages. We remember the arrests, the deportations, and the deaths. We also now think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, and those who died this season in years past, we have drawn into our hearts with our own. This Shabbat we extend sympathies to all who mourn the recent deaths and are in a period of Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning, for Lorraine Litt, the sister-in-law of Bob and Rona Litt, and the aunt of Sarah Beth Kanabrowski, Susie Fox, the sister of Linda Beckwith and the aunt of Jody Beckwith, Edward Scott Long, the brother of Shelley Long, Berta Rubin, Michael Wexler, the father of Kevin Wexler, and Chuck Frame. We also remember the yard sites, the anniversaries of the deaths of Sidney Albaum, Harry Blum, Joseph Dubin, James Eichner, Wolf Fagan, Helen Forsheimer, Richard Friedlander, Anna Goldman, Samuel Gross, Morton Hare, Ida Harf, Jacob Katz, Ralph Katz, Sophia Katz, Lois Koff, Diane Latta, Boris Lemberskaya, Fanya Lemberskaya, Beatrice Rose, Ethel Rosen, Paul Rosenhack, Ray Rubel, Stephen Schwid, Jacob Thomas Scheidlower, Jan Stam, Samuel Hyman Steinberg, Natalie Evelyn Teagarden, Janice Whiteman, Joan Yesenow. Are there any other names of yard sites or recent deaths that anyone would like to share?
Rabbi Barry Tabachnikov.
Marilyn Smith. Gloria Webb.
Stephen
Zichronam Livracha, may their memories all be for blessing. The Mourner's Kaddish is found on page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalmad yifrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayedechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agalav izman kariv yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach li'olam lo'amei olmaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei kudusha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran b'yalma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav v'yaseh shalom Aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, v'yal kol Yoshvei Tevel, v'yimru Amen. May God who creates peace in the heavens above, let peace descend on us, on all Israel, on all humanity throughout the earth. And let us say together, Amen. Please be seated. Shabbat Shalom. I want to welcome everybody, and our custom here is to greet people and to see if there's somebody near you that you don't know, and to greet them with a Shabbat Shalom and introduce who you are. Now, if you've greeted somebody new, you have somebody to talk to that you didn't know before in the Oneg, and you can find out so much more about them. I want to thank our board member, Lisa Wojciechowski, for being our greeter tonight. She's here to answer questions about the congregation, so if you have any questions, please ask her. Tomorrow morning at 9:15, there's Torah study, and then at 10:30 a.m., Jordan Tabachnikov, the daughter of Rabbi Debbie Till and Rabbi Jonathan Tabachnikov, will lead the morning service as a bat mitzvah. Sunday morning at 9:30 is adult ed, midrash. So we're going to go into some of those midrashim I shared tonight. That's how I worked it all together. So I had, combination of the two. Some others also about Abraham. 9:30 is religious school. We have a program on the values of Jewish camping led by our own Jane Amstey, who is now the director of Seneca Lake, but she's going to talk not only about Seneca Lake, but the URJ camp, specifically George, which she attended for many years as a faculty member, and the ideas of Jewish camping, and there are adult Hebrew classes at 10:30. Wednesday the 13th, our social action program is Asylum Seekers as a follow-up at 6:30. Wednesday, there's also the Women's Chavara Art Studio tour at 7 p.m. and our Religious Practices Committee has a meeting at 7 p.m. Next Friday the 15th, Erev Shabbat services at 6. Saturday the 16th, 9:15 Torah study at 10:30 in the morning. Jeff Davis's mother will become a bat mitzvah. Barbara Davis, Mazal Tov to you and the whole family, Jeff. I saw you here. Sunday the 17th, again, school, adult ed. And we also have our program A community conversation. This is the second of two, inclusion of people with mental illness, health conditions and disabilities. And then at 2 in the afternoon, there's a security committee meeting. Thank you, RJ. Wednesday the 20th is the daytime book club and the social action. That's been canceled, right?
Yes.
That was canceled, okay. Okay, so we're ready for Motzi? Okay, I'm ready for it too. I'm not ready for it. Let me know. Sure you don't want some? Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Before we turn to our closing song, I want to welcome two colleagues, clergy, Rabbi Scott Aaron and Cantor Claire Franco. Thank you for being here with us this weekend and to celebrate with Debbie and her family. We now turn to our closing song, which is Oseh Shalom, which can be found on the same page as you finish the Kaddish at the bottom. Now for the second part of the announcements, because I left out a page. See, Jordan, see, rabbis can make mistakes? You wouldn't know that at home. Okay. Thursday the 21st, we have a membership committee meeting at 6, executive committee meeting at 6:30, and board of trustees at 7:30. Friday the 22nd, services will not be here. We are joining together with Brit Kodesh and TBK, and Rabbi Hara Person, who is the executive director of the Central Conference of American Rabbis, will be the guest speaker, and you can sign up for a dinner there. It says on the bulletin or the snippets where the thing, there will be no schmoozing that night. They don't schmooze. Saturday 23rd, services, Sunday fine. There's still a few more days left of the JCC Book Festival. It lasts till the 13th, so if you're interested, go on their website. On the 21st, Thursday at 7 p.m. at the Lyric Theater, the Levine Center to End Hate is hosting a very powerful program, an unforgettable dialogue between Pardeep Kalika, whose father was killed at the Sikh temple in Wisconsin, and Arno Michaelis, who is part of a group that founded the group that actually did the shooting. The man who came from that group did the shooting, and since that time he has left the white nationalists. He has met with Pardeep, and they've formed a relationship, and that's the program for that evening. I gathered tickets have gone fast on that one. I think that at the last, during the week, 500 were already sold, and there's only about 200 left. So if you're interested, please sign up. And finally, on December 5th, we have our Rapid Response Network is offering a training here for those interested in helping immigrants facing detention. There's a firm cutoff date on November 22nd for registration. And then after that, it will be open to other congregations, so see snippets for more information. Following the service, you're invited back to the Oneg Shabbat in honor of Jordan becoming bat mitzvah. So, Mazal Tov. Please rise for the closing benediction. Adonai Yishmereni Yishmor Nafshenu, Adonai Yishmor Tzeitenu Voenu, Chayim L'Shalom. Eternal God, watch over us. Protect us as we go on our journeys in life, as we grow and we change and we look to the future. Guide us in your paths and bring us to a place of peace. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Finally, all the congregations should have so we let us know congregations.
Wow, that's another congregation.
Yeah.
That's so strange. That's right. How many people do you get for your service?
Oh, Manuel. A birthday
This year we have to switch again because the churches. This year we also have to find as we get what's
What's your name? Ariel.
Schwartz, nice to meet you.
Yes. We call her Ariel. So, how do you pronounce her name? Ariel. Yeah. How do you pronounce I mean, how do you spell your name? So our daughter is Ariel. So, for years, when she was a baby, people would say, we have such a name for the birthday. Tomorrow.
We're double drinking.
You want to get in? Good. Go ahead. The girls look like you.
And the boys look like each other. Right. The boys look like twins. Just a little bit age difference.
A little bit. Just wanted to be glad. So
that's the oldest. Everybody went to the house.
yeah. Times have changed. The world has changed.
I'm not out.
Really speaks what you're
Yeah.
So the United Church is
Lester. So about a month ago, I always take myself into the bathroom. Can I tell you the story? I take the cell phone with me. They're delighted. Anyway, so about a month ago, I was thinking I just stepped in the shower. Without thinking, I moved over to get the phone.
Very that is your Christ.
I think it's high. So
She'll never unsee this, right? So I didn't see the phone. It was 10 years later.
and I'm rich. How are you related to Rabbi
My
Tzvi?
wife, I'm Debbie's uncle.
Oh, okay.
By marriage, my wife, Jerry, is her aunt and that sister. That is Debbie's mother. Yeah, so, a lot of us are here from a smaller group. That whole side of the family. You mentioned the name of Chuck. So,
You were here in the last one, but you weren't.
The first one.
The first one is
That crew is like, the second one we couldn't make this.
we have a very large family.
We listed one in the middle, right?
Right, that's our
middle.
our
We were
Yeah, yeah, go.
in South America or something.
Everybody lives in Toronto.
Oh, so tell me that.
Children upstairs. I like the West. Where
Yeah, yeah, she's the one with the black dress with the kind of, she was just holding the baby, the middle one. That's our yeah. Yeah, so 2 weeks ago, I was talking to them, she was in
on my side as well.
I said, oh, we were in conversation, I said, did you guys hear about that 77-year-old woman? It's a true story, a 77-year-old woman.
Passover is 55.
It's a true story.
It's gonna be a joke, right?
It isn't a joke, I swear, everyone's does. Anyways, so she, so Debbie said, she said, can you
Every year like that.
to Ministry for 77?
You have kids who
We do. One's here and one's in Madison, Wisconsin.
Exactly, but you don't say that, you can. I
It's
said,
about 3 hours from Chicago.
We do the best we can.
lots of ways to make money from the relationship. My kids used to live in New York.
you're so cute. I hope you invested.
You make it work. It's easy these days.
They very much in Toronto.
All right.
Great.
Thank you.
Nice to talk
Can I
to
keep
you.
this or I give this
Sure.
back to you?
No.
Thank you.
But it's
Show my
it's
friend
really
how
interesting of how it was built,
Yeah.
and there are 10 sections, and it's 10 tribes, and then
Very symbolic.
and that is basically that's amazing in the fall also.
Oh, I haven't seen the fall, but we were here for the last time was for the Ariel's bar mitzvah, and I mean in the morning, the sun.
That's
Oh
beautiful.
my God, there's nothing quite as nice.
But when it's snowing here, it's just
Yeah, the
it's really an
separation.
amazing sight.
It's really, I mean, such vision, just beautiful. Really beautiful. Do you have a brotherhood in the synagogue?
I don't think so.
So.
Sisterhood.
Never had a brotherhood?
No, I don't think.
You should start one.
That's very kind.
That's what I said. All right. You said, I'm on the same thing. Yeah, I did it the other day. I'm like, I'm not waiting for this. I don't know. Yeah. All right. Bye. Take care, honey.
So or 2 years ago rather, for Ariel's. You'll see the saying, it's beautiful tomorrow morning.
Oh, well, I don't know if you ever saw his picture that he took.
It was like a snow globe, right? And it started to snow perfectly. Do you remember that part?
That's why it's in the picture.
It's amazing.
No, you just
Don't take pictures in this room.
That's why.
You sanitize the wrong person. Well, being a really conservative, it's like, look at this, and I'm like, this is our
So it comes up. So yeah, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's difficult because they can't. Yeah, they just. Yeah, she's really. She's teaches the kids in school. She's amazing. Every time you
It's like tropical. I mean, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
And it was just,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it.
So